Hotepu everyone! This is His Majesty Ra Smubafagbemi, the world's first openly African black gay king, and the role of a king is to nourish and protect his people. And today I wish to do so by setting straight how the chakras actually work, how they're structured, and their true internal dynamics. This information was given by the ancestors, the gatekeeper ancestors, the gay KAMAAT ancestors, because each chakra represents a gate. A gate means an archetype within you and a potency or talent within you, within or around you. Okay? So the first thing I wish to make clear is that it is not a structure of 7 chakras. You do not have basically 7 chakras. You have 28 major chakras. 28 major chakras. Let's take a look at their outline. Okay, so this image is what was revealed to me in meditation about the structure of the chakras. Now, this information does come from internalized work, actual energetic work on how the chakras connect, where they are, what they do, and their format. Okay, so let's take a look at these and let me decode this image for you, these 2 images for you all. Okay, so you see here on the left, you have what's called the major 7 famous chakras. These are the chakras that exist within your trunk of your body: the root, sexual, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown chakra. And you see them duplicated here inside the body on a smaller scale: the root here, the root, sexual, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. Again, in this image, you see the same 7: root, sexual, plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with those 7 chakras, and they do exist. They're very real. But they don't exist alone. The chakras are a much more complex system that we in the Nile Valley link to the star Sirius, called Sopedu or Sopedet. Okay? Now, so those are the famous 7 chakras many have heard of. But you'll notice the image is much more rich than just the 7. So the first thing we must understand is that there are 2 types of chakras. We have a set of chakras that are more what we call Shu or Yang, and then a set of chakras that are more Tefnut or Yin. There are some chakras that are more fiery and some that are more watery. So we have a yin-yang set of chakras. So if you try to open your chakras using only these 7 that we've all heard of, the root, sexual, solar plexus, etc., these are the 7, part of the 7 yang system. So if you only work with the yang system, the fiery chakras, what they call the kundalini chakras, in the tantric system, you can hurt yourself because they're hot, they're fiery, they're aggressive. They heat up the system, can heat up the brain. Okay? So there's a counterbalanced set of 7 chakras, which you see here on this profile image as white dots. Okay, so here we have, well, we can't see one down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we see it again. 1, 2, 3, follow the white dots. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so those are the 7 yin chakras. So the 7 yang chakras were best preserved by the tantric tradition of India. The 7 yin chakras were best preserved by the Taoist system of internal alchemy. So there are 7 chakras in your meridian system. Now, let me be clear about when I say meridian system. The thing about the KAMAAT approach to deep psychology, because chakras are about your psychology on a mental energetic level, a bio-mental energetic level. So this is a system of psychiatry, self-knowledge through self-psychiatry studies. You are made up of three fundamental components. This is very important to chakra work. A neutral component, a yang component, and a yin component. Many people say, especially heterosexual systems, which tend to be very binary obsessive, believe there's yin and yang. But there's three. In an atom, you have a proton, an electron, and a neutron. There are three. In the book of Knowing the Manifestations of Ra, the creation story, it says, the creator says, I came from God 1 to God 3, not God 2. So you are made of a trinity. There's a part of you that is neutron-like, neutral. We can call it androgynous, neither this nor that, neither male nor female, but that which creates those two. So we have this original neutrality, and from that branch out yang and yin. Okay? So you'll see that idea playing out here in these chakras, the way I've shown them. Notice there are three rows of chakras, like three little necklaces in each chakra, because the middle chakra lineage here is neutral or perfect. Then you have a left and a right set of chakras. So first you must understand that you are made of three basic components: neutral androgeneity, yang, and yin. You have a set of yang chakras, the seven famous chakras: root, sexual, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown. You have a not so well known set of seven yin chakras, which the Chinese system has preserved the most beautifully. Okay. Part of the Chinese system of chakras they call the tantians, these cauldrons where you cook your energy, you cook your qi. But they don't realize there aren't just three tantians, three cauldrons. There are seven. And again, these are the seven white dots in the center of these images. Today I won't go into detail on any of these specific chakras. I'm giving just an overall view of the gatekeepers, the gay KAMAAT, and how we were revealed the structure of the chakras. So, now, you'll notice in both images you have what appears to be the tree of life here in this white crown, and above this figure's head here, tree of life. So, these are parts of the chakra system. The tree of life is a part of the chakra system. These were once in the ancient days, in the golden age of the KAMAAT, in the pre-dynastic and dynastic times, all of these chakras were considered one unit. And because of invasion, many of the once unified holistic chakra teachings were broken off into a school of tree of life, a school of the seven trunk chakras or body chakras, a school of the Taoist system. They became separate, what we call the cutting of the body of Osar. What I have done here is resurrected and reconstituted the disparate parts of Osar or of these teachings. So the tree of life is not supposed to be separate from the chakra work. So we call the tree of life chakras, and let me count them with you. This is considered one chakra. The white is considered one chakra. Gray is another. That makes 2, 3 in the black. Blue and red form a unified chakra, so the count is 1, 4. Yellow makes a single 5. Green and orange unify. They work always as a unity. They make the sixth chakra above the head. And then this purple makes the seventh. So that's really seven chakras. One, two, three. These two make four. Yellow makes five. Green, orange makes six. And purple makes seven. So notice we've counted seven here, seven here, seven white dots here, and then these red tick marks. You see these little slash marks on each thigh, each leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're also here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the seven infernal chakras. So you have seven chakras above your head. You have seven chakras within the main part of your body, the trunk of your body, trunk and skull. I'm sorry, you have 14 within the trunk skull portion, 7 of the famous lotuses of India, and 7 white dots from the Taoist system, and then the red tick marks in the lines, 7 in the legs. So 7 here, plus 7 lotuses makes 14 so far, plus 7 white dots make 21 so far, plus 7 red tick marks make 28. That's why we say you have 28 major chakras. You have more chakras, but there are 28 fundamental, you must never ignore, centers of power. Okay? Now, the 7 sets, I have given categories. You see, you can't have a science if you don't categorize things. For many, many years in human history, we knew how to create sulfur, and we knew how to create chlorine. We knew how to make certain specific chemicals of chemistry. But it wasn't until in the West, Lavoisier made a table of elements called the periodic table. He organized all of the basic building blocks of chemical matter into a system that we then had the science of chemistry. We had alchemists who knew a few recipes of how to make a few chemicals, deal with the mercury and sulfur. But it wasn't until Lavoisier that we had a complete periodic table, a structuring and ordering of the parts and categories of chemical atomic structure, that we now have the science of chemistry. So you can't have a science of chakras, a science of psychology, unless you have organized it, categorized it. So we have the 7 chakras above your head, which are embodied in certain spheres of the tree of life. They encode those 7. You have the 7 lotuses in the main body. You have the 7 cauldrons also in the main body. So the main body has 14. The 7 lotuses are the 7 fiery chakras, and the 7 white dots, or the 7 cauldrons, are the 7 yin chakras. The fiery chakras, the lotuses, correspond more to your gonads, to your hormonal system, to your glands, okay? Whereas the white dots of the Taoist system correspond more to your organs. And then we have, so these 14 in the body are called the humanimal chakras. So the tree of life set is called the divine chakras. The 14 inside the main part of the body are called the humanimal chakras. And then the 7 red tick marks, made them red because they're mean and they're violent. These are called the 7 evil chakras. Okay? Now, within these sets, within the 7 divine up here, shown here and here, the 14 in the main body, shown as the 7 flowers and the 7 white dots, the humanimal chakras, and the 7 diabolical demonic chakras in the legs, each correspond to different deities in the Kamal system. So, for example, the 7 evil chakras belong to a god we call Apap, the serpent or dragon of evil. The 7 internal main trunk chakras have different lords. So the root, sexual, and third chakra belong to the god Set. The fourth chakra belongs to a god we call Herui, who is shown as a man whose front face is the hawk Heru, whose back face, facing backwards, is the snouted god of Set. It's a double-headed figure. So the fourth chakra is the heroic center chakra. And then we have the purifiers, what we call the priestly chakras, the Wabu. Okay? So, 7 divine, 7 humanimal, 14 humanimal, 7 demonic. Within the humanimal centers, the first 3 are Setian or selfish. The fourth is heroic. And the remaining are priestly, purifiers. Okay? And so that's the basic structure format of how this image works. Now, let's go a bit more into detail about some of these chakras. So we see here we have a red line going up here and a blue line going down here and a blue line in the back here and red in the front with these blue bubbles. Okay, we have the same red and blue wires in this frontal figure. So these are what I call the fountain of youth chakras. They link to the more Taoist chakras. It's called the microcosmic orbit that goes, or the macrocosmic orbit that goes through the body and through the legs. So up the back is what we call Watchet, the fiery snake in red. Down the front we call Nekbet, the cooling snake. At the back of your legs is a wire that goes down, which is blue, which is cooling. And then around the toe area here, we have a red one coming back up, which is fiery. So you see the red and blue lines are direct links to the white dots. The red and blue microcosmic orbit lines link to the 7 cauldrons in a very specific manner. Again, the red and blue lines here are offshoots of the 7 white dots you see here. Okay? And all the white dots you see here link to this yin microcosmic, what I call the fountain of youth orbit. Okay? And you'll see along these blue bubbles, if it's a red line between the bubbles, you see little flames. You see a flame and a figure, a flame and a figure. The flame means it is yang, it is a heating wire. And you'll see here along the blue wired bubbles, there's a figure and a blue water ball, because these blue bubbles, these blue points, acupressure points, are yin, they're watery. Now, this is very important. Notice that the orbit, the looping of the fountain of youth, this kind of red up, red going up, blue coming down, red going up, blue coming down, this kind of circular motion here. The word chakra means wheel, that which spins. Okay? And the microcosmic orbit also wheels, it spins. Okay? So notice that the microcosmic orbit, the red and blue wires, surround the famous central chakras and the cauldrons. They're kind of a boundary, a kind of egg that incubates the inner 14 chakras here. Okay? What I'm saying, in fact, means you should never open the inner chakras unless you loop these looping chakras, the red and blue lines. Okay? Otherwise, you'll get a lot of imbalances in your life. Okay? Now, when you create a looping current, you loop faster, red to blue, red to blue, red to blue, you loop it, loop it, loop it. It creates a dynamic charge. The faster you loop it, the more spin you get. When you get the red and blue looping and creating a kind of vortex of spin, it automatically triggers little whirlpools in the center. Meaning, looping the red and blue makes a giant whirling spin, and within that giant whirling spin, 14 little whirlpools appear, called the 7 lotus chakras and the 7 cauldron chakras. So here's what I'm saying that may be surprising to many people. When you do the microcosmic orbit, the fountain of youth loop, very well and often, you will automatically set the 7 lotus chakras and the 7 cauldron chakras into automatic motion. They begin to wheel or spin or vortex. So chakras mean vortices, the movement of energy within the body. Okay? And these blue bubbles along the red and blue lines or wires are major points, major power points along the fountain of youth microcosmic orbit. And when I was meditating years ago on this, these little ancestral figures appeared outside of my body, just like this, with their little arms raised, and they were pointing their 2 palms towards the blue bubble points, acupressure points on my back and frontal wires. And they were sending energy like magic through their hands. And when I felt the little tiny ancestor figures charging each of my microcosmic orbit points, those tiny points began to spin very fast and open very quickly. And I was able to get them to a level of spin, a velocity of spin, where wormholes opened. And I was able to travel, my consciousness was able to travel into each blue bubble, and inside of each bubble was a complete world, a complete dimension. So it created an organic, automatic, natural, astral projection ability. It's as if the spin, the whipping, whirling motion was kind of like a black hole that just pulls you in. You don't even have to fly into it. You just have to look at it and tend to go in it, and it sucks you right in. It was amazing experience. Okay? And I drew these images from those meditations. Okay? Now, I did touch upon this part briefly. Let's go into a little bit more. These are the 7 famous chakras. These are the root, sexual, solar plexus, heart, throat and blue, purple, third eye, and crown. But you notice, as I said before, each of these 7 chakras contain 7 on the left, 7 in the middle, and 7 on the right. So in each chakra, meaning each whirlpool, are 21 smaller fractal eddies, whirlpools. So there are 7 main chakras on the left of the first chakra, on the right of the first chakra, and in the middle of the first chakra. There are 7 on the left within the second chakra. There are 7 chakras on the left side of that chakra. There are 7 chakras in the center of the sexual chakra, and there are 7 on the right channel. So these 3 channels are called the Ida, Pingala, and Shushumna. We call the white, the blue, and the main Nile. Okay? Now, this understanding is that there are really 7 major lotus chakras, each containing 7 times 3, 21, which makes for 147 chakras. Now, I have a complete class online that you can sign up for on the chakras. We go in detail into all 147 sub-chakras, what I call zoom-in fractal chakras. It is an astounding amount of detail in your psychology, in your neuroses, in your strengths, in your problems, in your issues that are hiding in these subtle chakras, in these sub-chakras. Okay? Now, as you're seeing here, the chakra system is far more vast than has been known by modern accounts. You have to open all of them. You can't just work on your root chakra, your heart chakra. You got to work on, first and foremost, the divine chakras. These are the divine chakras. Okay? They have names in the Hindu system and the KAMAAT system. Okay? They have names. So, for example, the first chakra here is called the Ajna. This gray one would be called the Guru Chakra. This black one is called the Nirvana Chakra. The blue and red are called the Indu Chakra or the Soma Chakra. This yellow is called the Hrit Chakra. The green and orange are called the Manas Chakra. The purple is called the Visarga Chakra. Okay? And these chakras here must be opened first because they contain your divinity. You don't want to listen to the titles of the sections. These are the divine chakras. In the body here are the humanimal, the human animal. And then you have the demonic chakras. So what do you suspect would be the wisest to open first? Should you open the demon chakras first? The bestial humanimal chakras first? Or the divine chakras? By title, I title them this way to provide the world an understanding of which should come in what sequence. This is a science. This is a periodic table. I've laid everything out in an ordered, structured, patterned way that's universal. So you want to first open your 7 divine chakras. Okay? You want to then open your 7 yin chakras. Yin, what they call the Chinese cauldrons, the Tantien, these 7 white dots, and the red and blue loops. You want to open up, actually the sequence is first you open up the divine chakras, then you open up the red and blue lines, okay? You loop the orbit, then you open third the white chakras of the Tantians, called the cauldrons, then you open the lotus chakras. So divine first, loop second, white dots third, lotus is fourth. When you open it in that sequence, you will not have Kundalini experiences, you won't burn out your brain, you won't have psychotic episodes, you won't get weird, you won't fatigue yourself. And by opening up the divine first, the blue and red second, the white dots third, and the lotus is fourth, you automatically protect yourself from the 7 tick marks here, the 7 diabolical, demonic tree of death chakras, like the Death Eaters live down here: rape, murder, jealousy, envy, thievery, racism, homophobia, sexism. All those things live in the chakras in the legs. Okay? The chakras in the main body, the first 3 belong to Set, meaning selfish. Then you reach the heart chakra, the hero, where you choose between hero or tyrant. And then you have the priestly chakras, which purify the ones beneath them. Okay? And when you finally do open the 7 lotuses, they're the 4th in the sequence. Many people start opening their chakras, open your root chakra by walking barefoot on the earth and all this garbage. Why do I call it garbage? Because it hasn't produced anything that I recognize as useful on any scale worth noticing. All this chakra workshops people do, all these chakra workshops they do, and all this chakra shamans and things, they've not really produced anything that I recognize as solid, reliable, and useful in the real world. I've been holding a class on what's called Capitalistic KAMAAT since February 2020. It's an online class whose function was to use what I'm telling you today on the screen to increase people's income. Every person in the class, we have now about 10 people in the class. Not one person was laid off during the pandemic. Not one person lost their job, lost their money. They made more money, more investments. They began to buy gold, silver, stocks, annuities. Their finances bloomed during a national economic situation because these chakras are the divine powers you have a right to. But my goal, and I chose to make it a money class, chakra money class, was because I had to prove this is a science and it produces scientific results. It's not quote unquote mystical and airy-fairy and wishy-washy. You either made more money that month or you didn't. You either did a meditation for that money and you made more income, which part of the class is you must notate every month your percents of economic fluctuation going up or down. Because I had to prove these chakras are real, these divine forces in you are here, and they're here to help you, and they have to produce results. The word Sirius, Sopedu, which is the word for chakras in Egyptian, and the great star Sirius, the brightest in the sky, the word Sopedu, Sopedet, means the provider. Sirius, who is the lord of chakras, the word Sopedu, Sopedut, in Egyptian means the provider. When you awaken the chakras, they should provide for your real life. For what life? For your divine life, your human life, and all of its needs to prevent the demonic life from being yours. Okay? So I have 2 classes online, and in one of them we go through all 147 sub-units, what I call fractal zoom-ins. So for example, inside the root chakra, which is chakra number 1, there's a C-1, L-1, R-1. So the C-1 is center. C stands for center. We go 1-1. Center 1-1. So C means center, 1 means first chakra. The dash means the first chakra inside the first chakra on the center line. C1-2, C1-3, C1-4, C1-5, C1-6. It means C means center, 1 means first chakra, root chakra, C-1-1, C1-1 means center, root chakra, zoom in 1, so the root within the root. C1-2 means the second chakra hiding inside the root chakra's central channel. C1-3 means the micro sub solar plexus chakra hiding in the root chakra's center 7. C1-4 means the heart chakra inside the root chakra's center path. C1-5 means the throat chakra inside of the first chakra's central path. C1-7 means the crown chakra in the root chakra's central path. It's the same thing for R1-1, R1-2, R1-3, or L1-1, L1-2. L1-2 means the sexual chakra inside the root chakra's left channel. So you see, it's very technical. And what happens is in each of these 147 chakras, each of these central body chakras, and even in the demonic chakras, we have, oh, my cursor there, okay, we have storehouses. The Dogon called these granaries. These chakras are called granaries, places where you store information, you store experiences, you store memories, you store wounds, pains, and victories. It's like a giant memory system, okay, that can create new provisions, so pedut, for you. Okay? So, this is the first time in the world that the chakras have been organized into a table, a unified, holistic structure, given a sequence of awakening, and their interrelationships revealed. As when I said, for example, that the blue and red are the giant dynamo, and when that begins whipping fast, they create little whirlpool eddies of the lotuses and the white dots in the center. So I'm linking the 7 lotus and 7 cauldron chakras to the microcosmic orbit. I'm showing their connection. Okay? And the microcosmic orbit, the wires red and blue, they can hold any excess energy that the 14 center chakras might have. If there's any spillage, if you get too much focus on your root chakra or your heart, the chest cauldron, okay, called the Shen Tantien, okay, or the third eye cauldron called the Yuan Shen Tantien. If you get an overflow of energy, the microcosmic orbit, and also 8 special points called the 8 extraordinary meridians, they can hold the overflow. So you don't get a flooding situation or a congestion situation in your chakra work. So in these images, all parts of the chakras, the divine chakras, the red and blue wire looping chakras, the lotus chakras, the cauldron chakras, the demonic chakras, they're all given their hierarchy of sequence and their interrelationships. If you do the chakras in this manner, you will create miracles. You'll create the famous magical effects you've heard in history of what people who have chakra powers can do. And this information deals a lot with KAMAAT burial procedures, the afterlife. The great masters of the KAMAAT had all of these 28 chakras under control. They had all 147 Zuman chakras of the lotuses under control. They had all 7 cauldrons under control. They had all Tree of Life, 7 divine chakras under tow. So when we do ancestor work, when I teach ancestral ceremonies, we have a divination system. Let's say there's an ancestor you wish to contact. We have a divination method to determine what chakras this ancestor has open or closed, because you want to be careful whom you invite into your spiritual space. You don't want ancestors that have demonic chakras open, or the selfish root, sexual, and solar plexus chakras just opened, the Setian chakras. You don't want to invoke ancestors that have no divine tree of life chakras operating. So we use this image on the screen to work with the ancestors. So you see, it works on two levels. For the living, because once you work with these chakras the way I'm outlining it in this very carefully and safely designed procedure, you will produce what they call miracles, what the Hindus call Shakti, siddhas, talents, magical powers, magical forces. You will do mysterious things. It's not difficult at all, and it's your right. Yes? So, that brings us to, I believe that's an alarm going off. Let us turn that off. Okay. I apologize for that. We had an alarm go off there on the phone. And so here we have it all laid out. Okay? So I wish to bring one more detail into place, and that's this Eye of Heru. Okay? Or the Eye of Ra. The Eye of Heru or the Eye of Ra. Okay? Okay, so this is another representation of the chakras. Okay, now this eye has 6 major components. This first part, then the eye here, 2, 3 is the brow, 4 is the second sclera, whites of the eye. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, the whites. This curlicue is 5, and this kind of vertical part is 6. So this eye has 6 major fractional parts, divided into fractions. Okay, and each of these parts link to a chakra. So this part points to the nose. So this is your nose chakra or your root chakra. This iris is clearly eye. That is your third chakra, your solar plexus chakra. Now this is what's interesting. This brow is the top part of your head, towards your head, the brain, the frontal lobe. This corresponds to the mind controlling the 5 humanimal chakras. Okay? This would be the divine chakras, meaning the same as this tree of life here, chakra set, can also be drawn as a simple eyebrow here. Then you have this white part pointing towards the ear. So this is your throat chakra because the ear is linked to the throat chakra where the voice comes from. This curlicue looks like a tongue, so relates to the sexual chakra of taste. And this finger-like protrusion links to touch, which is the heart chakra. So let's try it again and count. Beneath the eyebrow, we have 5 divisions. White here, 1. Black is 2. White again is 3. Curlicue is 4. Finger-like is 5. These are the 5 elemental chakras. This would be earth here. This would be fire. This would be ether. This would be taste. And this would be touch. Okay? What should control all the elemental chakras is the mind, the enlightened mind, called this top chakra, whose color is green. Okay? So all I'm saying is that this image is in many ways the same as these images. This would be the eyebrow up here. The root would be the part pointing to the nose. The second chakra is the curlicue. The third chakra is the pupil. The fourth chakra is the white part pointing to the ear. And the fifth chakra is the finger-like. The green chakra here is the finger-like protrusion. And the part pointing to the ear would be the throat chakra. Okay, so I feel this tutorial is perhaps at a place of completion. Notice in this image, I did put the divine chakras in this white crown. This is the white crown of the ancestors, of Osar, Lord of the Dead, Lord of the ancestral realm. And that's how I knew to link all the chakras to the level of ancestor coming to you. You don't want to leave your body, so-called die, we call it translate, with any of these chakras shut down, clogged, or unfluxing. You want them all flowing, you want them all blossoming, blooming, and fragrant. The KAMAAT would say, may I be like a lotus onto the nostrils of Ra. That's linking the lotus is your chakras, and Ra is your life force, which is the composite of all the chakras will be Ra. We can call all of these images and dots and wires Ra. And you want each of the chakras to open and be fragrant onto your life force, to your inner light. Okay? So, again, we do have online classes. If you want to make more money, sign up for the money class. It's working. I've tested it for over a year with students, with myself for over 3 years. When I finally felt it was secure and complete, I opened it up to a class. The class is working, and I've done the orbit work, the wire work many, many years ago, and I found that worked completely well. So sign up for the Capitalistic KAMAAT class and sign up for the online chakra classes. It's the only place in the world where I'm teaching these methods of how to use this scientific periodic table breakdown of the chakras. So you get money, you get love, you get success, you get health through your chakras without hurting yourself or other people or burning yourself out or draining yourself. Okay? So we pray you enjoyed this revelation of the chakras. This is the first time I'm making it worldwide public because the time has come to do so. And I pray you enjoyed it and found it useful. Okay? I wish to make one slight little comment before we conclude, and that's that the orbit and the white dot chakras link a lot to the constellation Orion, which is Osar Osiris. And the lotus chakras link very heavily more to Sirius. So this chakra breakdown links primarily, and we do actual meditations with our chakras, astrally projecting them towards Orion stars and the great star Sirius. When we connect the chakras with the stars, they're much more potent. This red channel, for example, it only works well when you first plug it into the North Pole star, Polaris. The blue wire in both images really only work well when you first plug them into the star Vega. Okay? And the central chakras in the middle of these work best when you plug them into the star Dubhe in Draco, what we call Taurt. Okay? The points back here, for example, near the tailbone, work best if you plug into the moon. The third eye works best if you plug it into the sun. Okay? So I've linked each of the chakras to constellations and points on the earth. The balls of your foot chakras down here work best when you plug into the core of the earth, the mantle and core. If you try to work the orbits on your own energy, you will burn out. So I designed the classes where you learn to plug into certain stars, certain planets. There are even certain pulsars we pull into, certain black holes in certain galaxies we pull into. This I got from the study of the Dogon and the study of a place called Naphtha, the first archaeoastronomy so-called Stonehenge in the world and the most advanced. And so we pull in things from the universe, okay? And this packs in a lot of power, gives you a lot more juice, a lot more magical and psychological and psychic forces to assist you at your money, at your success, your relationships, your family, your creativity. They all become very powerful. And we combine words of power with each of these 147 chakras. We have words of power for each of them that are very specific to make you a writer, to make you good at herbology, to make you destroy evil, to get you out of jail, to uh, get you to understand how light works, how to be a scientist. There are so many blessed powers in you, but we had to have a method of organizing it, systematizing it, making it safe, putting in safety valves and safety redundancies, plugging you into the universe, plugging you into your body, your organs, your cells, all of this. We unify it now. And when we're done, the chakras tune into your astrology chart because your astrology chart has elements: earth signs, water, fire, air signs. You have earth chakra, water chakra, fire chakra, air chakra. So then we link the chakra work to your astrology transits and your birth chart, and it becomes a wonderful unified system. So, but that's more expressed in the classes. We pray you enjoyed this. And remember, no matter what happens to you in life, always look up. Why? Because you are a star. Dwawend Hotepu.